Welcome to this special podcast, sponsored by Murphy Business Sales Edison, New Jersey office, where your business aspirations meet expert guidance. Whether you're looking to sell your business or explore new acquisition opportunities, we are here to support you every step of the way. Join us as our hosts deep dive into small business topics which are relevant for buyers, sellers, and other transaction advisors in the ecosystem.
Usually when we talk about a business owner getting ready to sell their life's work, whether it's like a local hardware store or maybe a mid-sized logistics firm, there is a very specific image that kind of comes to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. The traditional toolkit of valuation.
Right. Like you picture the founder sitting at this massive mahogany conference table, totally surrounded by accountants.
Oh, yeah, just mountains of paperwork.
Exactly. And they are poring over balance sheets, physical asset inventories, real estate appraisals, maybe even literally kicking the tires on the delivery trucks outside. It is all very tangible. Like, it's very concrete.
You feel safe, to buyers and sellers alike, mostly because you can physically touch it. You count the inventory on the shelves, you check the depreciation on the machinery, you audit the last 3 years of cash flow.
But looking through this massive stack of sources we have on the table today, and we've got a lot. We've got recent M&A due diligence reports, white papers on artificial intelligence search behaviors, and some really fascinating regional economic data. There is a completely different reality happening behind the scenes of these acquisitions.
A completely invisible one. Yeah.
Right. There is this hidden line item sitting right there in the due diligence paperwork. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but in today's market, this invisible asset can swing the valuation of a company by 10 to 20%. I am talking about the company's digital footprint.
We really need to put that percentage into perspective because it's huge. When you are looking at a multi-million-dollar exit, say, a $10 million valuation, a 20% swing is $2 million.
$2 million. That is just a staggering amount of money to leave on the table.
Or worse, to have clawed back by a private equity buyer at the 11th hour just because you didn't manage your online presence properly.
So, for you listening right now, we are going completely under the hood today. Our mission for this deep dive is to look at how buyers actually value your digital assets, and more importantly, how you can transform a fragmented, maybe slightly ignored online presence into a massive valuation multiplier.
Which is so critical right now.
Yeah, so we'll look at the exact red flags buyers search for, how to use your digital presence to actually drive physical foot traffic to brick-and-mortar stores, and how to survive this wild new era where artificial intelligence is answering customer questions before they even, click on a website.
It's a completely different landscape.
It really is, and I promise you by the end of this deep dive, we're also going to look at some incredible data on how to get this entire digital transformation funded without paying out of pocket. We'll be highlighting a specific program in New Jersey that is just incredible.
Yeah, that grant data is going to be a game changer for a lot of people listening. But if we connect this to the bigger picture first, the very first mental hurdle owners have to clear is stopping this outdated idea that a business's digital footprint is just a passive brochure.
Right, like it's just a digital flyer.
Exactly. It is not just a URL you slap on the bottom of a business card anymore. In the modern macroeconomic landscape, your digital presence is a strategic, intangible asset.
Okay.
It acts as a direct proxy for market engagement, for brand visibility, and most critically, for consumer trust. Buyers aren't just buying your past performance. They are buying the predictability of your future performance. And your digital footprint is essentially the engine that drives that predictability.
Okay, let's unpack this because I think a lot of people, especially operators who have spent 30 years building a physical business, still view a website update as like an annoying marketing expense, right? Not a term sheet line item.
Oh, all the time. They see it as a sunk cost.
Yeah. So how does this actually work mechanically when a business is sold? Like, how does a website turn into a multiplier?
Well, to understand the mechanics, we need to look at the two primary ways businesses are valued, which largely depends on their size and maturity.
Okay, break that down for us.
So for smaller Main Street businesses, usually those under, say, 2 or 3 million in annual revenue buyers, typically use a metric called SDE. That stands for Seller's Discretionary Earnings.
Okay, SDE. So that's basically figuring out the total financial benefit a single owner-operator gets from the business, right?
Exactly. You are looking at the true cash flow to the owner.
So you take the net profit, but then you add back in the owner's salary, their health insurance, the company car they lease to do the business, maybe even the country club membership. You are adding back all those owner perks to find the real number.
Precisely. And typical Main Street businesses, they trade at a multiple of maybe 1.5x to 3.5x of that SDE. So if your SDE is $500,000, you might sell for $1 million or $1.5 million.
Got it. That makes sense for a smaller shop.
But as a company grows, it transitions to a completely different valuation model. And that is EBITDA. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
The big corporate acronym.
Right. This metric is used for mid-market enterprises where you have a professional management team running the day-to-day operations, completely independent of the original founder.
So the buyer isn't buying a job for themselves anymore. They are buying a standalone, self-sustaining, cash-flowing machine.
That is the exact distinction. And this is where the digital footprint becomes the ultimate multiplier.
How so?
Well, systems-driven, digitally mature firms don't trade at a 2x multiple. They can command 4x, 6x, even 8x EBITDA or higher.
Wait, really? Why such a massive jump just because they have a good digital setup?
Because a strong digital presence proves to the buyer that the company can scale without proportional cost increases.
Okay.
Let's say you have an automated customer portal, right? A highly optimized e-commerce system and a digital CRM. With those tools, you can handle double the order volume next year without having to double your administrative staff or your sales team.
Ah, I see. Because the software is doing the heavy lifting.
Exactly. That operational efficiency drops straight to the bottom line, which expands the EBITDA. And then the buyer multiplies that higher EBITDA by a higher multiple because they see significantly lower operational risk.
Man, it's like, imagine selling a luxury mansion, but leaving the basement completely full of toxic waste.
That is a very vivid way to put it.
Well, think about it. You might have this beautiful kitchen, a great view, the landscaping is perfect, but the home inspector is going to find the sludge in the basement.
They always do.
Right. And the buyer is either going to walk away completely or they're going to demand a massive discount to clean it up themselves.
That is a perfect analogy because in the M&A world, buyers utilize what's called DFA digital footprint analysis to map a target company's entire online exposure.
So they are sending in the digital home inspectors.
Exactly. They are actively looking for the toxic waste. They want to find the risks before they hand over a $10 million check. And if they find those risks, as the M&A data in our sources clearly shows, they will demand a 10 to 20% valuation reduction.
Okay. I hear what you're saying about risk, but practically speaking, let me push back a little here.
Sure, go ahead.
Let's say I'm looking at a commercial HVAC company. They are netting $2 million a year in pure cash flow. The owner has great relationships with developers. Is a private equity firm really going to walk away or demand like a $400,000 discount over a clunky website that was built in 2014? I mean, if the cash flow is strong, who cares?
It is a fair caution, but it misses what the private equity firm is actually evaluating.
Right.
It is not about aesthetics. It's about the perception premium versus the digital discount.
Okay, explain that.
Buyers want predictability above all else. A structured CRM, automated email workflows, predictable digital pipelines. These things prove that the revenue isn't solely tied to the founder going out and shaking hands on a golf course.
Right. It's not just personality driven.
Right. It proves the revenue generation is systematic.
Yeah.
If your digital footprint is a chaotic mess, the buyer assumes your internal operations and your lead generation are a chaotic mess too.
So it's a proxy for operational maturity. If the public-facing stuff is broken, the internal machinery is probably rusted out.
Exactly. And the risks they are looking for in a digital footprint analysis are far more severe than just an ugly homepage.
Yeah.
When we look at the due diligence checklists from these M&A firms, they are hunting for very specific liabilities.
Yeah, I was actually looking at one of these due diligence checklists from our pile of sources, and the one that stood out to me as a complete blind spot for most business owners was this category called forgotten infrastructure.
Oh, that's a huge one.
I wouldn't even know what that means. Why would buyers care about, like, a test website from 5 years ago?
Well, forgotten infrastructure includes dormant subdomains, old staging sites where developers tested a new layout years ago, and outdated developer tools left sitting on the server. To continue your analogy, leaving those active is worse than leaving the back door of the mansion open. It's leaving the back door open with a neon sign pointing directly to the safe.
Wait, because it's a security risk.
A massive one. These forgotten digital assets are prime entry points for ransomware. Hackers love targeting companies during ownership transitions because they know system integrations create temporary gaps in IT oversight.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. So if a due diligence team finds a vulnerable, uncatched staging site from 2019 still connected to your main server environment, that is a glaring red flag.
Because it tells the buyer your data could be compromised the day after they buy the company.
Precisely. You have to identify and delete all dormant infrastructure before going to market.
Which leads right into the next major red flag on this list. Software vulnerabilities. I imagine this is tied to the same concept.
It is. This means auditing your current active platforms. Are you running an outdated content management system? Do you have legacy plugins on your WordPress site that haven't been patched by the developer in 2 years?
And buyers are actually checking for that.
Oh, buyers will run automated penetration scans during due diligence. Unpatched software isn't just a theoretical risk. It will result in a direct valuation haircut or a severe delay in closing the deal while they force you to fix it. You must mandate automated patch management as a standard operating procedure.
Okay, so we secure the infrastructure, we patch the software. But there is another item on this M&A list that feels much more public. Reputational liabilities. We're talking about online reviews here.
Yes, online reputation management.
Does a 1-star Yelp review from an angry customer really impact a multi-million-dollar valuation? I mean, everyone gets bad reviews.
It is not about an isolated bad review. Every business gets those, you're right. It is about unmanaged customer reviews across multiple platforms.
Unmanaged, meaning no one is replying.
Exactly. If a buyer pulls your digital footprint and sees a 3-year trend of poor ratings on Google, Yelp, industry forums with zero professional response or acknowledgement from the company, they apply multiple compression.
Multiple compression, meaning they lowered the EBITDA multiplier?
Correct, because they perceive immense brand risk. They see a degrading customer base that will cost them more money to acquire and retain.
So what's the actionable step there?
The actionable step is implementing professional, systematic response systems for all online feedback, positive and negative. It shows the buyer you are actively managing the customer experience, which protects future revenue.
That makes total sense. Now, this next one in the due diligence report genuinely terrified me when I read it. Data credential exposure.
It's scary, but it's very real.
It says here that due diligence teams will literally scour the dark web for leaked employee logins. If I'm a business owner, how do I even control that? I mean, I can't scrub the dark web.
You can't scrub the dark web, no. If an employee used their work email to sign up for a third-party service that got hacked 5 years ago, that credential's out there.
Right?
But you can render that stolen data completely useless by mandating strict two-factor authentication, or 2FA, across the entire company and conducting regular password security audits.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if a buyer's analysis finds your employee's credentials on the dark web, but they also see that 2FA is a rigidly enforced standard operating procedure internally, the risk is mitigated.
Because the hacker has the password, but they don't have the employee's physical phone, so the password is useless.
Exactly. It shows operational maturity.
Wow. It's not about being perfectly clean. It's about having the systems to handle the BERT.
That's a great way to summarize it.
And the final major category I'm seeing here is legal non-compliance, which, frankly, sounds like a lawyer's playground.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Buyers are looking for gaps in privacy policy standardization. Are you violating copyright laws with the generic images you scraped off Google for your blog?
Oh, people do that all the time without thinking.
All the time. Are there massive gaps in your compliance with data privacy laws like GDPR or the CCPA in California?
And if there are?
If a buyer finds these, they don't just see a website error. They see future legal liabilities and fines. You need a comprehensive legal content audit to ensure your terms of service and privacy policies are airtight before a buyer ever looks at them.
Okay, so we've patched the holes in the digital basement. We deleted the old staging sites. We enforced 2FA. We updated the privacy policies. The buyer's inspector isn't going to find any toxic waste.
Right. You've protected the downside.
But preventing a discount isn't the same as driving a premium. To actually inflate that EBITDA multiple, this clean infrastructure needs to prove it can generate real-world cash.
Yes, revenue generation.
And looking at the stack of retail reports we have, there is this fascinating connection between digital hygiene and actual physical foot traffic. How is a clean digital footprint getting feet through the front door of a physical store?
This brings us to the concept of omnichannel synthesis. For a long time, there was this prevailing fear among Main Street business owners that e-commerce was going to cannibalize their brick-and-mortar storefronts. The assumption was that every online sale was a lost in-store sale.
Right, the whole Amazon is going to kill every local store narrative. We've heard that for a decade.
Exactly. But the data shows the exact opposite for businesses that adapt. A robust online presence actually acts as a direct feeder system for physical locations. And the undisputed king of this right now is BOPIS. Buy online, pick up in store.
Along with its variations like curbside pickup and ship from store.
Yes, all of those local fulfillment models.
BOPIS, it is everywhere now. I feel like during the pandemic it was a necessity, but now it's just how everyone prefers to shop.
It's totally normalized.
Yeah.
And the economics of BOPIS are incredibly compelling for retailers, primarily because of logistics. Think about the biggest margin killer in traditional e-commerce.
Last mile delivery.
Yes, last mile delivery. The expense of getting a package from a local fulfillment center onto a delivery truck and onto a customer's front porch.
Yeah, the sources here note that last mile delivery often exceeds 10% of the total order value. 10%.
It's massive.
If you are operating on a 20% profit margin, half of your profit just vanished into the gas tank of a delivery truck.
It is a massive drain on profitability. But BOPIS eliminates that completely. It turns your local storefront into a localized distribution hub.
Because the customer uses their own gas, their own car, and their own time to do the last mile delivery for you for free.
Exactly.
See, here's where it gets really interesting to me. BOPIS isn't just a logistics hack to save on shipping costs. It is basically a Trojan horse for impulse buying.
Oh, absolutely.
I was floored by the statistic in the retail data. It says 67% of BOPIS shoppers make additional purchases at the counter when they come in to pick up their item.
That's right.
And some broader studies suggest up to 85% make some form of extra in-store purchase while they are there. That is wild.
It is phenomenal consumer psychology. You have effectively forced a high-intent digital buyer to walk past physical end caps, strategic product displays, and your trained sales staff.
Right. Let's walk through a real-world scenario. Let's say I'm repainting my living room. I go online, I buy 2 gallons of a very specific premium paint from my local hardware store because I want to make sure it's in stock before I drive over.
Makes sense.
So I walk in to pick it up. The associate hands me the paint and says, "Hey, we have a special on painter's tape and drop cloths today. Did you need those too?" Boom. I absolutely need those. I just forgot.
And you just increase the basket size.
Exactly. You've captured the guaranteed online sale, saved the shipping cost, and generated an extra $30 in impulse buys.
That cross-selling opportunity is highly profitable, and it only exists because of the initial digital engagement.
It is brilliant. But, let's be real for a second. If this is such an absolute cash cow, why isn't every single local business doing it perfectly? Because I will tell you, I still go to stores like big ones too, where I order online, I show up, and it is total chaos.
Oh, we've all experienced that.
Right. No one knows where the order is, there's a huge line, and I end up wishing I just bought it on Amazon.
You are hitting on the exact friction point. Scaling a local pickup system introduces severe operational bottlenecks. Implementing BOPIS means you are attempting to merge digital speed with physical human reality, and that is incredibly difficult.
So what's breaking down?
If you look at the source data on retailer challenges, it basically breaks down into 4 massive hurdles.
Okay, let's go through them because this is where the theory falls apart in practice.
First, 49% of retailers report struggling with orders taking too long to prepare. The customer buys the item online from their couch, immediately gets in their car, and drives over. They arrive in 10 minutes.
And the store isn't ready.
Right. The staff on the floor is busy helping in-store customers and hasn't even seen the digital notification to pull the item off the shelf yet.
Which completely ruins the convenience factor. If I have to stand around for 20 minutes while someone searches the aisles for my order, I'm never doing BOPIS at your store again.
Exactly. You've lost that customer. The second bottleneck, 44% of retailers lack dedicated in-store space to stage these online orders.
Oh, meaning they don't have anywhere to put the stuff once they pick it?
Yes, you can't just have random boxes piling up behind the cash register or blocking the aisles. It disrupts the physical shopping experience for everyone else and leads to damaged inventory.
Yeah, I've seen that. Just a mountain of brown bags behind the counter. It looks terrible. What's the third bottleneck?
This is perhaps the most critical one.
Yeah.
36% suffer from out-of-sync inventory systems.
Oh, this is the absolute worst.
It is.
You buy something online, the website confidently tells you it's in stock, you drive 20 minutes to the store, and the manager comes out looking all apologetic, telling you they actually sold the last one an hour ago to a walk-in customer, and the website just hadn't updated yet. It is infuriating.
It breaks consumer trust instantly. It leads to canceled orders, chargebacks, and angry customers who will actively leave negative reviews, which, as we discussed earlier, damages your valuation.
Everything is connected.
It really is. And finally, the fourth hurdle. 31% of retailers face severe staff training issues. If the store associates view online orders as a secondary priority or like an annoying distraction from the real customers standing in front of them, the entire system fails.
So if I'm a business owner listening to this and I realize I need this omni-channel revenue to boost my EBITDA, how do I actually solve these bottlenecks? How do I make the physical reality match the digital promise?
The solution requires an investment in both software architecture and hardware. To scale BOPIs effectively, you cannot rely on just a basic e-commerce plugin. You need an advanced order management system or an OMS.
What does an OMS do differently?
It's software that orchestrates inventory in real time across all your channels, your website, your physical registers, and your warehouse.
But software alone can't fix the out-of-sync inventory problem if, say, a customer picks up an item and puts it back on the wrong shelf, right? The computer thinks it's there, but the employee can't find it.
Precisely. Software only knows what it is told. This is where item-level RFID technology comes in, radio frequency identification.
Okay, I've heard of RFID. How does that actually work in practice compared to a normal barcode?
Well, a barcode requires line of sight. An employee has to physically find the tag, turn it around, and scan it. RFID uses radio waves.
So no scanning.
Not individually. You put a tiny, inexpensive RFID chip on the product tags. An employee can walk down an aisle with a handheld reader and instantly capture the exact location of hundreds of items in seconds without ever actually seeing them.
That's wild.
By using RFID, retailers can push their inventory accuracy past 98%. The system knows exactly what is on the shelf in real time, completely preventing those out-of-stock disasters.
That is incredible. And what about the space and staffing issues, like the mountain of bags behind the register?
For that, you implement physical solutions like automated pickup lockers. You see these at major hardware stores and grocery chains now.
Oh, right. The big orange lockers at Home Depot, for example.
Exactly. The staff picks the order during their downtime, scans it, and places it inside a secure locker at the front of the store. The OMS automatically sends the customer a barcode to their phone.
So the customer just walks in, scans their phone.
The locker door pops open, they grab their item, and they leave.
No waiting in line, no tying up the cashier.
Exactly. It streamlines the entire process, isolates the digital fulfillment from the physical checkout line, and drastically improves the customer experience.
Okay, so we've got our digital infrastructure cleaned up to pass due diligence. We've got our RFID tags and our BOPIS lockers ready to turn digital clicks into physical foot traffic and impulse buys.
Right. The system is built.
But there's a massive assumption built into all of this. You can't have a BOPIS boom if customers can't find your products online in the first place.
That is the big catch.
And based on this stack of research on artificial intelligence, the way people find things online right now is undergoing the biggest revolution since the invention of the search engine itself.
It is a monumental shift. We are officially entering what the industry calls the zero-click world.
The zero-click world.
Yes. Here is the paradigm-shifting statistic you need to internalize. Over 65% of search queries are now resolved directly on the search engine results page without a single click.
Wait, I want to make sure I understand that. 65% of people search for something on Google, get their answer, and leave Google without ever clicking through to a website.
Yes. Search behavior is fundamentally shifting. For 20 years, we used search engines to browse. We typed in a keyword, got a list of 10 blue links, and we clicked through them to find the answer ourselves.
That's how we were all trained to use the internet.
Right. But now, users are asking direct questions, and the search engine is using AI to generate a direct synthesized answer right at the top of the page. The user gets what they need, and they leave.
If I am a business owner who has spent the last 10 years pouring money into optimizing my website to get clicks, that is absolutely terrifying.
It is disruptive, which is why it requires a strategic pivot. We are moving from a single pillar of search traditional SEO to a three-pillared approach. You have to optimize for human browsing and machine synthesis simultaneously.
Okay, let's break down these three pillars, because if you don't understand this, you are going to be invisible in 3 years. What's the first one?
The first pillar is SEO, search engine optimization. This is the baseline we've always known. It is about ranking for keywords, ensuring your pages load quickly, acquiring backlinks, and earning clicks on those traditional blue links. The ultimate goal of SEO is ranking.
Right, getting to page 1, what's the second pillar?
The second is AEO, Answer Engine Optimization.
AEO.
Yes. This is about structuring your content so that it can be easily extracted by AI-powered features. We are talking about Google's AI overviews, voice assistants like Siri or Alexa, and those featured snippet boxes that appear above the regular search results.
So you're optimizing for the AI summary.
Exactly. The goal here isn't necessarily a click. The goal is snippet ownership. You want to be the single definitive answer the AI reads back aloud to the user driving in their car.
And the third pillar?
The third is GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. This is about shaping how the massive large language models, platforms like ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity understand, synthesize, and cite your brand as a core entity across all their outputs.
So wait, AEO is for the quick answers on Google, and GEO is for the actual AI chatbots.
Yes. The goal of GEO is citation inclusion. When a user asks an AI to synthesize a complex answer from multiple sources, you want your brand to be cited as the trusted authority in the footnotes.
Let me see if I can put an analogy to this. Traditional SEO is like trying to have the biggest, brightest billboard on a crowded highway. You want everyone driving by to see your sign and decide to take your exit.
That's a good way to look at it.
And AEO, the answer engine stuff, is like being the exact destination the GPS tells the driver to go to. The GPS just says, turn right here, they have what you need.
Right. It gives them the direct answer.
And GEO is like getting a security clearance. The AI doesn't just ask you if you are trustworthy. It goes out and interviews your former neighbors, your boss, and your high school teachers. It checks the entire web, and if everyone agrees you are an expert, you get the clearance to be cited.
That is a highly accurate way to visualize the mechanisms behind each pillar.
But I have a massive problem with this.
Go.
I'm going to put my business owner hat on again. If the AI just gives the user the answer right there on the search page, and no one clicks through to my website to see my inventory or my phone number, how do I make any money? Why on earth would I spend time and resources optimizing for 0 clicks?
It is the most common pushback, and honestly, it reveals a counterintuitive truth about modern digital commerce.
Which is?
Yes, AEO and GEO might reduce your overall raw traffic volume. The top of funnel vanity metrics might drop.
Right.
But the visitors who do arrive at your site via AI discovery have a 4.4x higher conversion rate than traditional search traffic.
4.4 times higher. That is massive. Why are they converting so much better?
Because the AI has already done the heavy lifting of comparative shopping and research for them. Think about the user journey.
Okay.
If a user asks Perplexity, compare the top 3 inventory management systems for a mid-sized hardware store, and Perplexity synthesizes a detailed comparative answer that cites your software as the best fit for their specific needs, that user isn't browsing anymore.
They're ready to act.
Exactly. By the time they actually click the citation link to your website, they have incredibly high purchase intent. They are arriving pre-qualified and ready to buy.
So it's a massive shift from quantity of traffic to quality of traffic.
Exactly. And to understand why this builds so much enterprise value for a business sale, we need to look at it through the lens of the resource-based view theory, or RBV.
Okay, hold on. Resource-based view theory. We are getting into some heavy academic frameworks here. Break that down for me.
Simply put, RBV is a framework for evaluating which assets give a company a sustainable competitive advantage. Under this theory, the ultimate goal is to build an asset that fits the VRN framework. VRIN.
VRN, what does that stand for?
Valuable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable.
Okay, valuable, rare, inimitable, meaning it can't be copied, and non-substitutable. Walk me through an example of how this applies to digital traffic.
Let's compare 2 types of traffic. First, think about paid traffic running Google ads or Facebook ads. Paid traffic is valuable, sure, but it is not rare, and it is highly imitable.
Right, because if I find a great keyword that converts, my competitor can just double their ad budget tomorrow and outbid me. They can copy my strategy instantly.
Precisely. Which leads to diminishing marginal returns as customer acquisition costs skyrocket. The second you turn off the ad budget, the traffic drops to 0. A buyer looking at your company sees paid traffic as an expense, not a structural asset.
Okay, I track that. So what's the alternative?
Now, compare that to organic traffic built through a unified SEO, AEO, and GEO strategy. If you have spent years building a reputation where AI models constantly cite you as the definitive authority, that is a VRN asset.
Because it's valuable and rare.
And critically, it is inimitable. A competitor cannot simply write a check to buy your authoritative, consensus-backed reputation overnight. It takes time to build that trust with the algorithms.
You can't fake it.
Right. Once a brand achieves critical mass in these AI ecosystems, it exhibits nonlinear increasing returns. You build compounding enterprise value, true brand equity that buyers will absolutely fight over and pay a premium for during valuation.
Okay, if I'm a local hardware store owner listening to this, my head is completely spinning.
That's a lot to take in.
It is. I'm trying to manage payroll, deal with supply chain issues, and fix the plumbing in the employee restroom. And now you're telling me I need to build a VRiant asset and appease an AI robot so I can sell my business in 5 years. How do I even begin? What does this actually look like on the back end of a website?
This brings us perfectly to the playbook. The actionable, technical steps for optimizing content for generative search. The foundational concept you must understand is that an AI does not read a web page like a human does.
Right. It's not sitting down with a cup of coffee to read your beautifully crafted 2,000-word blog post.
No, not at all. Large language models parse data structures. They extract information by mapping relationships between entities using nodes and edges. To optimize for them, you have to feed them data in the exact formats they are programmed to extract. Let's start with actionable strategies for AEO, the answer engines, like Google AI Overviews and voice search.
What is step 1?
First, you must implement a question-first architecture. For years, SEO was about stuffing keywords into paragraphs. Now you need to use conversational headers that exactly mirror natural user queries.
Give me an example.
Let's take our earlier example. Instead of a generic header on your site that says BOPI inventory management, you need to use an H2 header that asks the literal question. How does BOPIS improve inventory management for hardware stores?
You are literally feeding the machine the exact question the user is whispering into their phone.
Exactly. You remove the predictive guesswork for the algorithm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second is what we call the 40 to 60 word rule. Immediately after that question header, you need to write a concise, direct, purely factual answer in a paragraph that is exactly 40 to 60 words long.
Wait, why that specific length? Why 40 to 60 words?
Because empirical testing across millions of search results shows this is the optimal length for an AI to extract as a featured snippet or for a voice assistant to read aloud before the user loses attention. It is the mathematical sweet spot for machine extraction. You do not put marketing fluff or lengthy anecdotes there. You put the direct, unvarnished answer. You can expand on the topic below that paragraph, but that initial block is for the machine.
Got it. Direct question header, direct 50-word answer block. What else for answer engines?
Formats are crucial. AI loves structured, categorized data. Use bullet points, numbered lists, and clear tables wherever possible. If you are comparing 3 different products, do not just write paragraphs about them. Put the specs in a clean HTML table.
Make it easy for the robot to read.
Exactly. And finally, for AEO, you must implement schema markup.
Okay, we touched on this earlier. Schema markup sounds highly technical. If I go into my website backend, what am I actually doing?
Think of schema markup as a hidden layer of code that acts as a universal translator for search engines. It's specifically formatted using a standard called JSON LD.
JSON LD.
Right. When you write a human-readable sentence like, our impact drill costs $99 and has 500 reviews, a human understands that instantly. But an AI crawler has to guess context.
Right.
Schema markup removes the guessing. You wrap hidden tags around that data like product schema, price schema, and review schema.
So you're basically putting digital sticky notes on every piece of data that says, hey, robot, this number right here is the price, this number is the review count.
Precisely. It instantly categorizes your data. It allows the machine to ingest your information with 100% confidence, which makes it far more likely to serve your data as the definitive answer.
That is incredibly actionable. So that covers the answer engines. But what about GEO? How do I get ChatGPT or Claude to cite my business when they are synthesizing complex answers?
GEO requires a broader, more holistic approach focused entirely on verifiable authority. The first step is entity clarity using the EEAT framework.
EEAT?
Yes. EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. AI models need to know exactly who is providing the information before they will cite it.
But how do you prove expertise to an algorithm?
Through aggressive transparency signals. One of the biggest mistakes businesses make is publishing their blog content or help articles under a generic admin or staff tag.
Oh, I see that all the time.
You must stop doing that immediately. You need detailed author bios for every piece of content. Add real credentials, links to their professional LinkedIn profiles, and a list of their publication history.
So if Sarah, the master plumber at my HVAC company, writes an article on winterizing pipes, I need a bio that explicitly states she has 15 years of field experience and holds a master plumbing license.
Exactly. Furthermore, you must cite primary sources. If you claim a statistic, link to the original data. AI models are explicitly trained to prioritize factual, well-sourced information over unsupported opinions. You are building a fortress of credibility on your own domain.
Okay, that makes sense. I build out my bios, I link my sources, I prove I know what I'm talking about.
But what's fascinating here is doing all of that on your own site still isn't enough.
What do you mean?
A brilliant, perfectly structured piece of content with an amazing author bio on your own domain will remain practically invisible to an LLM if no one else on the internet is talking about it.
Why? If the content is technically perfect, why does it matter what anyone else thinks?
Because AI models are designed to look for consensus signals. This goes back to your security clearance analogy. They form views based on what the collective web says.
Okay.
If only your website claims that you are the leading provider of local HVAC services, the AI treats that as biased marketing material and ignores it.
Right, because of course you would say that.
Exactly. But if local news outlets, industry forums like Reddit, regional directories, and Wikipedia all mention your brand in association with high-quality HVAC services, the AI detects a consensus.
It's digital peer pressure for robots.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Therefore, to master GEO, you must have an active digital PR strategy. You cannot just sit on your own website. You need to get your brand mentioned across third-party platforms.
It's active outreach.
Yes. You need to be cited in trade.
We've talked about implementing item-level RFID tags and buying automated pickup lockers for BOPIs. We've talked about hiring developers to code JSON LD schema markups and running digital PR campaigns to build consensus signals.
It's a lot.
If I am running a $3 million local business, that sounds incredibly, profoundly expensive. Where am I supposed to find the capital for all of this?
It requires capital, without question. A proper digital transformation is not cheap. Which brings us to the massive silver lining in all this research and, frankly, the most actionable piece of information we have for business owners today, capitalizing the digital transition.
Yes, the free money. I was waiting for this. Let's get into the grants.
A major barrier to digital modernization is indeed capital. But what many owners, especially operators of legacy physical businesses, do not realize is that there is a vast, heavily funded infrastructure of public, private, and regional non-dilutive grant funding available right now.
Non-dilutive meaning you don't give up any equity, and it's a grant so you don't pay it back. It's not a loan.
Correct. It is capital designed specifically to help small and medium businesses survive the transition into the digital economy.
What kind of grants are we talking about? Give me some examples from the sources.
On a national level, there are several broad options. For instance, the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready program offers $10,000 grants, and the primary qualification is simply registering and taking a couple of free online digital courses on their platform.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For women-owned businesses, the Women's Net Amber Grant awards $10,000 every single month to applicants.
That's amazing. What if business is looking to grow outside their local area?
If you are an e-commerce brand looking to expand internationally, there is the SBA STEP grant, the State Trade Expansion Program. This specifically covers the costs of localizing your e-commerce site for foreign markets, like translating pages or setting up international SEO.
Oh, that's incredibly specific.
And beyond national programs, there are localized regional grants everywhere. The sources highlight the Decatur Marketing and Digital Connectivity Grant, which provides matching funds specifically for website upgrades and digital marketing.
But the absolute highlight from our pile of sources today, the one that really blew my mind when I read the details, is a program out of New Jersey, the NJEDA Small Business E-Commerce Support Program.
It's a phenomenal program.
Let's dive really deep into this one because the way this is structured is the holy grail of grant funding for an overwhelmed business owner.
It is uniquely structured to remove the friction of modernization. Most grants operate on a cash award basis. The government gives you $10,000, and then you, the busy business owner, have to go figure out how to find a reputable developer, manage the project scope, ensure they are doing the JSON LD schema correctly, and then report back to the government with receipts on how you spent the money.
Right, which sounds like a part-time job. Most owners just don't have the time or the technical expertise to manage an IT project, so they don't even bother applying for the grant.
Exactly. The administrative burden outweighs the financial benefit. But the NJEDA program is what's called a professional services grant. The business owner doesn't actually manage the money, and they don't have to manage the project execution.
Wait, how does that work?
The state of New Jersey goes out and pre-qualifies expert consulting and development firms. They vet these agencies for technical competence. The state then pays those pre-approved firms directly up to $11,400 per business to provide digital services to eligible retail, dining, and personal care businesses.
So if I'm a restaurant owner or a retail shop in New Jersey, I apply, I get approved, and I essentially get an expert digital agency assigned to me to do all the heavy lifting, and the state picks up the $11,400 tab.
Yes.
That is wild. What exactly does that 11 grand cover? Will they do the AEO schema stuff we talked about?
It covers almost every single thing we've discussed today. The eligible uses of funds are vast. It covers custom website design and e-commerce platform setup from scratch. It covers integrating your digital storefront with your physical POS system, which is the exact foundational step you need to implement a functioning BOPIS and omnichannel fulfillment system.
Incredible.
It covers the development of online ordering systems and reservation platforms for restaurants. And crucially, it covers SEO optimization, site speed audits, and the development of custom digital marketing plans.
It is literally a free digital transformation handed to you on a silver platter.
It is an arbitrage of public funds to create private enterprise value. Utilizing a program like this allows an owner to build a high-converting, omnichannel, AI-optimized digital footprint with zero out-of-pocket costs.
Which changes everything.
By doing so, they instantly increase their operational efficiency and their market reach, which, as we established at the very beginning of this conversation, directly and significantly raises their EBITDA multiplier for a future sale.
Okay, I have to be skeptical. I just have to. Whenever the government is handing out $11,400 in free professional services, there has to be a catch.
It seems too good to be true.
Does the business have to pledge their firstborn child? Are there massive restrictive strings attached to this?
The eligibility is surprisingly straightforward, though it is specific to ensure the funds go where they are needed most. You must operate from a physical storefront located in New Jersey, so a retail shop, a restaurant, or a personal care service location. It is not for remote software startups.
Okay, makes sense.
You must have a registered business name and be in good standing with the state, and you must fall under their specified full-time employee threshold, which ensures the funds go to genuine small businesses and not massive, well-capitalized corporations. If you meet those basic operational criteria, the barrier to entry is incredibly low.
That is just phenomenal. If you are operating a physical storefront in New Jersey, you need to be looking up the NJEDA e-commerce support program the second this deep dive is over. It is literally free enterprise value.
And even if you aren't in New Jersey, the broader takeaway is that this type of capital exists everywhere. Economic development authorities across the country and across the globe realize that if local small businesses do not digitize and adapt to AI search and omnichannel retail, local economies will fail. The funding is out there if you actively look for it.
Okay, this has been an incredibly dense, fascinating journey. Let's recap this for you listening. We started by looking at the hard math of valuations, revealing how a clean digital footprint isn't just a nice-to-have marketing brochure.
No, it is a mandatory, intangible asset.
Exactly. It is a proxy for operational maturity that survives grueling due diligence and protects your sale multiple from the digital discount.
And then we broke down how BOPIs and omnichannel strategies aren't just about saving on last-mile logistics. They are Trojan horses that drive highly qualified physical foot traffic and generate massive in-store impulse buys.
We examined the structural, terrifying shift in how people find information, detailing how optimizing for answer engines and generative engines through structured data, precise 40-word answers, and building consensus signals across the web allows you to capture pre-qualified, high-converting AI users.
And finally, we showed you how non-dilutive grants, like the incredible NJEDA program, can literally pay for this entire transition, maximizing your business's ultimate sale price with zero out-of-pocket cost.
It all comes back to cleaning out that toxic waste from the digital basement and building an asset that private equity buyers will fight over. It is a totally different way to look at a website. It is a financial instrument.
Which leaves us with one final provocative thought based on the trajectory of the AI research we've analyzed today.
Okay, lay it on us.
We've spent this time talking about structuring your website for AI search engines today to capture retail customers and build revenue. But consider this. In the near future, the entity conducting the due diligence on your business during a multi-million-dollar acquisition won't be a human analyst clicking through your site and taking notes.
Oh, wow. I see where you're going with this.
It will be an AI agent tasked by the private equity firm with scraping the entirety of the internet to evaluate your brand's digital history, your consensus signals, and your security flaws. It will synthesize decades of your company's digital exhaust in seconds. If an AI is going to be the ultimate judge of your life's work, evaluating the very asset you've spent decades building, are you speaking its language?
That is genuinely going to keep me up at night. Make sure your digital basement is clean, folks, and make sure the robots know exactly who you are. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you from all of us at Murphy Business Sales for taking the time to learn about this important topic. We look forward to working together to achieve your business aspirations. For more information or a complimentary consultation for sell-side services, visit us at murphybusiness.com/Edison and complete our Contact Us form.